This
we'll
conference
get
will now be recorded.
Okay, it'll be recorded. Good. And after introductions, we want to get into just the presentation of revitalizing downtown Dundalk, some ideas that we have, and share with you and try and critique those ideas to come up with solutions, if that is the direction we want to go. We want to share, as part of that discussion, we first want to share with you the community action plan goals, which were provided in our consultation when we did our strategic plan back in 2018. We want to talk about downtown parking lot project and future plans for parking. Now that the drugstore is proceeding, we're going to, as part of that project, create curbs and gutters and so on, and pave that parking lot in behind and around to the CIBC. We'll talk about accessibility, streetscape ideas, community space in general, just to get consultation feedback from people on the call. And we've provided that survey to also get feedback. There'll be a question and comments period. We've got Mayor Woodbury on the line as part of the group tonight hosting this meeting, along with our planner, Clint Stradwick, and our newly appointed Economic Development Officer, Terry Murphy, and we'll introduce her in a few minutes. So then we'll talk about as the second part of the meeting is the introduction of the Southgate's Community Improvement Plan and some of the benefits that that can provide to businesses if they want to improve their facade or do other things to their help their business maybe head in another direction or expand or whatever. And then we'll go over the feedback survey in detail and then talk about next steps as far as the discussion about downtown, the downtown project. We'll have closing comments and then adjournment. So unless anybody has concerns with that agenda, we'll get right into it. And maybe what I'll do is I'll ask staff to introduce themselves. And I see Lindsay Green's on the line, our clerk. Do you want to show yourself, or how are we going to do this?
I can, but there's not a lot. Most people are calling in.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll just introduce who's on the line. I believe I see Liam Gott's on the line, our treasurer. Kayla Best is assisting me with rolling these slides through the presentation. And then the next person, it says C. I'm not sure who that is.
Councillor Shipston, I believe.
Okay, thank you. Then we have Mayor John Woodbury. CS is Clinton Stradwick. Kevin Green's on the line. Jim Ellis is on the line. I believe Councillor Barb DeBreen's on the line. JM, sorry, I'm not sure who JM is.
It might be me, Janice Mason from the credit union.
Thank you, Janice. Don't be afraid to speak up if that's close to what your handle is. I see Deputy Mayor Brian Mellon's on the line. RAF.
Rhonda from the ABC Flowers, I believe.
Thank you. Then we have MF.
Mary Fowler.
Okay, thank you. Then we have, it looks like O or 0.
Owner.
Not
Sorry.
sure who that is. That one doesn't have a name. I'm not sure who that is.
Okay. They said something, but I missed it. Sorry. There's JM on the line. Another JM.
That's Jessica Mole, me.
Thank you, Jessica. Jessica is our librarian CEO. And then we have Terry Murphy. Terry is our new Economic Development Officer and comes with experience in the area of business She owned a business, and as well, they did quite a bit of development, small-scale development down in the Brampton area. So she has got roots back in this area, and we're really glad to have her on board. Anything else you want to say, or do you want to just save it for answering questions later? Terry?
I could just answer some questions later, but hi, everybody. Nice to be back and good to be here.
Okay, we'll continue on. Somebody slipped in here before Terry, and it says SA.
Yeah, Dave, my
Oh.
skills on the computers are not that great, but it says Juan, the owner that you were inquiring about before, and I'm seeing a Shah Aslan. So they're newcomers to the conversation tonight.
Hi, I'm Shazlan.
Okay, good. Thank you for joining us. Then we have 5 people that it all says CO or CD.
So those people are calling in. Dave,
Okay,
so what I'll do is I'll unmute you all and you can introduce yourselves.
Michael Scherson, counselor, Southgate.
Hi, I'm Emma. I'm
Hi,
opening
Emma.
up the cafe.
yes, Emma is opening up a cafe on the corner of Main and Proton, and I think it's this Friday or Saturday.
Actually, we've had to push it back because we had a shortage with the plumbing thing,
Okay,
a pipe. So we're hoping the fall. We're just going to keep going the next week and the next week. So
yeah, good. Well, we look forward to it, and I'm sure there'll be an announcement out there. But
awesome.
looking forward to a nice cafe on the corner and a bakery. So there's some neat things going to happen there.
Yep.
Make sure you let us know.
Yes. Who else do we have?
Brett McDonald.
Okay, thank you, Brett. Who else?
Find my computer.
And there's one on here that says EC that just joined us.
Angela Shermo
If we
from the
have-
Dundalk Herald.
Okay. Okay, I think we have most everybody. If we've missed anybody, please speak up.
I guess I'm on here, Dave. Jason Rice, counselor. I don't know if you, maybe I missed you.
Good. No, that's fine. I have you earlier. Jason.
And I don't know if you heard Angela Shermo. I don't think my mic's working now.
Can you repeat that, the last call person?
Angela Shermo from the Dundalk Herald.
Yep, got that. Okay, I think we must have everyone close to it. And we'll get started now that we've done introductions. We've got the presentation up here. Maybe I'll get you to mute Lindsay. Okay, that's better. So the downtown Dundalk accessibility, streetscape, and community space project consultation is what we want to cover tonight, as well as the second part is the introduction of the Southgate's new community improvement plan, which was introduced or approved by council recently. Next slide, please. So the process that we're going to, or the goals of this meeting is to go through the community action plan and share the feedback that we had during the strategic planning session that is in relation to downtown Dundalk. Provide progress on our community action plan Dundalk projects, and some of these that we're working on right now, that's kind of top of mind is that's part of the community action plan. And we'll cover it a bit more later, but it's good to see the new Dundalk Village Pharmacy breaking ground. I was talking today to the community health center people that are spearheading the project. There's about a 7-stage process to go through to get final ministry approval. And so we're into the design phase part of it. And out of the 7 steps, we've got 2 of them already knocked off. And as you can see in Dundalk, there's a lot of housing development going on that stems growth as far as commercial business and industrial growth and creating jobs. That's as a result of that residential growth and people wanting to invest in our community. We're going to report on the downtown parking lot project behind the CIBC and the credit union and the new drugstore, as well as future plans for parking in other areas in downtown Dundalk. We want to discuss the funding opportunity that we have available to us that's due June the 25th to invest in downtown Dundalk, and share and discuss ideas to improve building accessibility on Proton Street, report on and discuss streetscape and open space improvements that we are proposing, but we want to seek feedback on those ideas. And we want to share with you the survey that we've created, and that survey deals with both the downtown improvement project and the community improvement plan. And then the last item that we've got on here is introduce the new Southgate Community Improvement Plan and the financial incentives available to support local businesses. We just want to introduce it tonight. We want to, our time is all, your time is valuable, and we don't want to hold you up much more than 90 minutes, but if we need to go on, we can. If there's something that intrigues you about the Community Improvement Plan, please let us know, and we can have one-on-ones with you. Terry would be more than happy to meet with you and discuss specific projects or issues that, but we just want to introduce that tonight. But if there's questions, we can stay as long as we need to. Next slide, please. So Southgate's Community Action Plan, it's on our Southgate website under the local government tab, and then you select 2019 to 2023 Southgate Community Action Plan link, and that will get you to the site for those that are interested in the Community Action Plan. But we're going to share with you specifically tonight the local projects that are related to downtown in the Community Action Plan, and that's the direct site to get there. Community Action Plan goals and commitments for downtown Dundalk. So goal number 2 of 6 goals, so we have goal 2 is fully focused on revitalizing downtown. And the action for all initiatives within that goal is that the residents and businesses of Southgate envision our largest town once again becoming a source of community pride and a hotbed of community activity, with a much improved appearance and a broader range of business opportunities. The strategic initiative 2A within that goal A is the county and the township having reconstructed Main Street. We've done that, and that was completed. Main Street East has been completed, and the Main Street West section is planned for 2026. We're working with the county to do that because it is their county road, but we look after the water and sewers and the sidewalks and servicing for that roadway to the residential properties and commercial properties. Strategic Initiative 2B is the township will have developed and adopted and implemented a community improvement plan for settlement areas, including incentives, downtown redevelopment, and reuse. So the CIP was approved by council, and we will introduce that later in this meeting. Next slide. Okay, so incentive 2C, the township will have modified the vacancy premises tax rebate program in order to remove disincentives to restore or reuse. the vacancy tax rebate program was canceled by council, and it becomes canceled effective July 1st, 2021. For those that aren't familiar with that, the vacancy tax rebate was an opportunity for people that didn't have anybody renting their space, commercial space, to get a rebate on taxation. And what we found, and other municipalities found, is that that was only an incentive for people to buy property and speculate on the value of that property going up and not renting it out. And it was taking rental space, we believe, off the market and inflating rental commercial space downtown, maybe at higher rental values than they should be. So we've taken that incentive away, and whether your building is full or empty, you'll be paying the same tax rate to make it fair for those that rent from these business owners or these property owners. Incentive 2D, the township will take an aggressive action to enforce compliance by downtown buildings with property standards related to building code and fire regulations. So the township has hired a fire prevention officer and is conducting and will be conducting inspections more actively after COVID is passed. But the idea is to inspect buildings and make sure they're safe for not only the people that rent, but the commercial space, but the residential space above as well. Next slide. So strategic initiative 2E was that the township will increase its support for and promotion of community events, festivals, parades, library activities, and other events that would attract people to the downtown area. What we want to talk about tonight and to make the downtown Dundalk area a place that will attract people to events and in the business section of town, so that we can make downtown a place to come, a place to be entertained, and a place to do business at the same time. So if they come downtown, they're going to come in your door, and we just think the more people we attract, the more business opportunities that will come from that. 2F is the township will appoint and work with a downtown revitalization advisory committee involving community organizations, businesses, landlords, and tenants, and other stakeholders. This is another topic for discussion, but we think that we need to restart a chamber or a business association that is led by our new economic development officer. But again, that's a discussion that we need to have. But I think we need to get something going that we get more feedback from business owners as to what we want to do, what we should do, and plan our direction going forward, because our community is changing, whether we like it or not, and we need to be ready for the business opportunities that will come to us with the increased population. Next slide. So 2G is that the township will install prominent signage to direct visitors to downtown attractions and businesses. We have red funding that we're actually in the process of spending. We're approved for 17,000, and our share is about 40,000. And that's to buy different things that we'll share with you in this presentation later, but signage and banners and downtown furniture that would complement the project we're proposing tonight. And strategic initiative 2H, the township will support the renewal of downtown murals. And I think this is a discussion that the chamber needs to have, or a business association needs to have, to give us feedback on whether that is of value, whether those murals are of value, and get that kind of feedback. Right, I know right now we have one mural that we're having problems even discussing about upgrading, or anyway, I think we need to have a discussion another time in relation to that, or someone may want to ask a question about that or make a comment later. Next slide. So the township's commitment to revitalizing downtown, that we talked about this one earlier, but we want to expand on it a bit more. What do we need to consider to achieve this specific initiative of improving downtown and making it a place? So one thing that we are recommending is making the buildings accessible, more so on the west side of Proton Street. There was quite a few of the buildings that could be made accessible were improved with the construction project on Main Street last 2 years ago. And but this would be a fairly aggressive approach to changing elevation so that we can get people into businesses on grade. We would improve the appearance of the streetscape with boardwalk areas for downtown commerce, with trees, banners, benches, and rest areas for the public. Create outdoor space for community events and develop a mall effect. Possibly one-way traffic and reduce parking on Proton Street to allow other spaces, and increase downtown parking overall by lot capacity in our growing community. And we'll expand on that a bit later as well. Next slide. So this one's a bit hard to see, but if you can see at the top is Holland Street, and the building that you can see at the top left corner would be the credit union. And then you see Proton Street on the left side of the screen, but this is look like a rendering of what the parking lot would look behind the new drugstore and beside the Mennonite style and something's going on here. Let me just get rid of this. So this is some parking spots. It would Holland Street. It would give access still from the credit union parking lot to get in there. And it would still, we've got proposals to still have access off Main or Proton Street where we do now between the credit union and the hair salon. And right down in the bottom, it's not identified, but that would be the parkette idea. Actually, why don't we just maybe open it up on this slide? Or can they put their hand up?
They can if they are participating online, but not if they're calling in.
Maybe what we'll do is, yeah, right, okay. Why don't we open up the callers? Can you unmute them to see if there's any questions? We'll see how, if it's not too noisy, we'll just leave them unmuted. And if you have a question, let's just speak up as we go through these slides. So next slide, and we can take questions on parking if it comes up later. So what we just looked at was Proton Street North on the east side between Main and Holland. Now we're looking at the west side of Proton Street behind the businesses, and I've got some yellow highlighting there. And we think that we can develop some of that area into parking space, rear lot parking space, and work with the county. We've had a good go of it with the county on the medical center designs and so on, and getting land from them. And we would look at developing some of the green space in the rail trail, still to allow traffic flow, still to allow the rail trail for recreational vehicles, but try and create some parking space back there more. The other thing that is, there's a larger piece of yellow that's between the medical center and the Huron Bay Co-op store. and that's a parking lot owned by the township. And when the medical center moves from the present Lions Center to the new CHC north of the fire hall, that property will open itself up to parking for downtown. So that's something we're kind of holding to allow for increased parking and so on. The thought here is that we want to have more discussion on that, but businesses, as you maybe redevelop your store, you may want to consider whether you're on the east side or the west side of Proton Street, but look at rear lot entry into your businesses to access from these parking lots. Maybe an advantageous feature that we should look at in the future.
Hey, Dave, it's Brett.
Yes, yes.
Just as a thing, if we are talking about using the back there, that also could become an accessibility point as well.
Yes, it could. But
rather than doing parking and doing the front of the street, like if I know at the back, I might have room to do an entrance back there that I could make accessible. That went along the, but just as another option, if people are interested in that, could work as well.
Sure, if we can make the rears accessible, that's great. But I think it's really, really important to have front street accessibility in the future, because if somebody comes out of one store and they want to go into another, it's really important to have that frontal access, and we can provide that for you with this project.
The one line there, I know I need access to the back of my building for my loading and stuff, so I'm not sure how much parking up back there. But
exactly, and there's shipping receiving issues with every property that we'll have to deal with.
Parking all the way along, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. You know, can we do some parking on Holland, more identified parking on Holland Street? Because a lot of our parking space, I think, is wasted in our parking lots because we don't have a parking space identified. And so the first person that gets to town kind of establishes parking for the day.
Yep.
Next slide. So this is just some ideas for streetscape, and this is not exactly what would happen in Dundalk, but you know, you just expand things that people could, you know, you could have more of a cafe in front of a restaurant. You could have, you know, leisure space for, you know, seniors to come down and sit and talk and so on, and actually have trees and shade spaces that people can relax and, you know, and do commerce and so on. Next slide. So our rural, just want to touch for a minute on our RED program, which is called Rural Economic Development Funding for Downtown Dundalk. And these are the type of things that we would, benches, picnic tables, planters, could be made available to make it decorative, make it a place to relax. Next slide. Also, more planters and more receptacles for waste and recyclable materials for both, and the planters for both trees and flowers. These types of planters, just so you know, would, and even the waste containers possibly, would be maybe removed and taken in for the winter months, but you know, depending, for sure the trees and the planters, just so we could still maintain good snow removal. Next slide. So we'd look at, you know, getting banners that would, you know, not necessarily the University of Waterloo, but a banner like this that, and some lighting, seasonal lighting for downtown is part of this fund. More attractive flower baskets and bike racks. The bike racks would be more for in parking areas or at the library. Next slide. Some directional signage and some event promotional boards that people can, you know, see what's going on. We can identify business locations and have signage that points people in the right direction. And bleachers that are portable that could be moved in and out for public events. Next slide. So the current funding opportunity to invest in downtown Dundalk is called the Canada Healthy Communities Initiative Grant Funding Opportunity, and it's eligible for up to $250,000 for eligible projects. We have to apply by June 25th at 5 p.m. and the project has to be completed by June 30th of 2022. So, this would be something, if we were approved for funding, we'd not likely know until, later in the fall, but it would be a project that would be done off season, and it would be important to, keep it pretty short window for construction. Southgate's application would seek funding for an intake to improve mobility options for increased physical distancing, increased safe social connectivity, walkability, and pedestrian safety. Next slide. To solve building accessibility challenges on Proton Street, the considerations for change is to deal with issues that we would need to increase sidewalk area for building access, open space for social events, and to provide outdoor commerce areas. Close Proton Street is one idea to one-way traffic. We would reduce some parking spaces on Proton Street to allow disability parking and pickup area spaces for goods and people, and increase parking lot space, which we've talked about earlier, behind the businesses. Consider and develop business access from the rear, which we've talked about, of the businesses on a go-forward basis as the township develops future parking options behind your buildings. Next slide. So this is one just option we come up with, and that would be only a one-way that would go into the parking through the credit union cash machine, and then the other one would be an entrance or an exit out through, and there could be access to from Holland Street, and then you would go out through the parking lot between the CIBC and the hair salon there, and then out to Main Street. That would give quite a bit of space and still provide parking and one-way traffic flow. Next slide. Option 2 would, I think, is a much better option. It's a one-way traffic flow from Main Street to Holland, and it still provides some parking, and it increases pedestrian area with raised concrete for accessibility and an open space area for streetscape and community events to be held. Next slide. So accessibility and streetscape open space improvements. The sidewalk elevations would change to provide on-grade entrance to businesses on the west side of Proton Street to property line and or the front of the building. The open space sidewalk area for the outdoor commerce and street attractions, festivals, etc., would be at a different level, but the change in elevations to get into the businesses would be gradual and ramped, and there would also be steps to get down into the open space area if you wanted to cross over to the other side of the street. Community events like the Fireman's Frolic, Farmers Market, Christmas, Halloween, Easter, outdoor music events, etc., to promote downtown as a place would be possibilities to increase consumer attractions. But again, these kind of discussions of what kind of events we would have would be, I think, through the chamber or the business association discussions, and then community groups could work through the EDO and the business association to make those things happen.
Dave?
Next slide. Yes.
Janice Mason has a couple questions about the option 1. Can we go back to that?
Yes.
Option 1 diagram. Janice, can you unmute yourself?
Yep, I'm just looking at that. So that option is actually suggesting that traffic would flow through our drive-through. Is that correct?
Well, the only way it would go, it would increase traffic through there. And I know your concerns. We've had this conversation. I wouldn't recommend that, but that's an option to look at. There
But that's
still
not
is the entrance
really,
up Holland Street.
like,
Go
that's
ahead.
not really an option as for the municipality to put forward, because that is a private entrance. Like, we can't put that forward
Correct.
as an option to flow traffic through there.
Correct. Unless there was some on take of liability by the municipality to take the liability and the maintenance of that entrance.
We'd
But
have to
I
want
don't
that
think-
there too, Dave.
Sorry?
As the credit union, we'd have to want it through there. Not to overspeak,
Yes, exactly.
but Dennis and I,
No,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, that's very reliant on the credit union,
Yep,
right?
that would
Yeah.
require their participation for sure.
The full cooperation to have that one go. Yes.
Yep.
And
So-
the other part of that is, you know, it's a short-term solution. We've got, you know, a rental agreement for that parking, what is designated as a municipal parking at the back, which
Yep.
does extend, you know, a few years to come, but wouldn't be, you know, without something more permanent in place, would certainly not be something you'd want to rely on as a long-term solution.
Correct. Yep. Agreed.
Yep.
We're
I
just
had another
throwing these
question.
things out for discussion. There's got to
Sure.
be, there's a lot of things to be sorted out with this slide for sure. And I really don't think it's a viable option.
Okay.
No. And
Your other
I had
question?
my other question was just, it kind of relates to the survey and to this as well. They were kind of putting out the option of one-way traffic as a bit of a compromise between this option and the way things are today. And
Yes.
I wondered, will you discuss what your rationale might be for the direction of traffic flow, why one might be more advantageous than the other, or how you came up with that? And also to do with the one-way traffic flow. Normally when you have one-way traffic flow, somewhere there's a one-way in the other direction to route traffic, because the way that the town is, I could see that what it might mean with one-way traffic flow along Proton Street. Now that we've got a subdivision, you know, at the north end of it, where is that residential traffic going to either come in or go out to, you know, get to work and whatnot? Is this going to reroute a lot of excess traffic through some of the other residential streets, or what do you have in mind?
Yeah, well, the access to the subdivision to the north, the White Rose subdivision, would likely drive traffic to Dundalk Street. There's an awful lot of people come in Owen Sound and head up Osprey now to get up in there. We're even having problems with the heavy trucks going up Artemisia and Osprey and getting to the subdivision. So for sure, this would drive a bit of traffic more to Dundalk, we believe. We had the discussion about what's the rationale for the one-way going north versus coming south. And the idea is we want to make it, the engineers recommend it because they've seen in the past that you want to get people, make it convenient for people to get into downtown, and coming off Main Street is the way to go. Where when they're exiting, they can go out through the little driveway out to Artemisia Street, beside the apartments on Artemisia, or they can go out Holland Street from the parking lot. So there's a lot more options to exit, and we believe that it's more convenient to allow people to go north on Owen Sound or on Proton Street when we're getting them into Dundalk for shopping. But
Okay.
if somebody likes it the other way and there's an agreement, we are not concerned about that at all. If there may be other rationale that's better for downtown than that, but the idea is people would either then have to come in Dundalk or Artemisia to get to downtown.
I think your logic there about bringing, you know, you have to focus on, if you're looking at downtown revitalization, you're trying to get people into the downtown. I can see that would be, you know, the option you would focus on if you were deciding to go with one-way traffic.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions? And tonight, this presentation is just to get the discussion going and let you kind of think about it, marinate about it, and give us your feedback on what you think about the proposal and the benefits to the overall downtown because of the feedback we got through the community action plan. Next slide. So, yeah, we talked about this one. Next slide. So I guess we've already had that discussion. Is there anything more related to accessibility, streetscape, and open space improvements?
Dave, what does the sidewalk look like on the north side of the street there to get this accessibility? Like in
The
front of my,
sidewalk,
on the north side there, or on the west side? To get
so
like,
that sidewalk would get ripped right out.
yeah, and what does it look like coming in again?
So what it would do is you would likely have a sidewalk similar width, maybe less, but there would be a railing, and it would change in elevation from your lumber, construction store.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, because that store is a bit lower. No, it's not. It's the same elevation, isn't it? The 2 steps. So we would come up with an elevation from the corner to get up to that level, and then come across at that level, and then we'd have to move up a little bit again. But likely somewhere around your store, more the hardware store, there would be a walkway to go down with steps. But that's all things we can design. It would go up again to get obviously to the restaurant and to the other store beside it. And then I think it would start coming back down to an elevation to get into some of those other stores further down.
And then back up again.
And there would be some back up again, yes. But that would be not quite as aggressive, but it would allow people to, with wheelchairs and so on, to be able to come down and do business or on scooters or whatever. And then the what is now parking and street, except for one way and some parking at both ends, would become more of an open court sidewalk type area, whether that's cement or whether that's brick finishing, but it would be a place that we would be able to put bleachers, benches and picnic tables or whatever. And as well, we can work with businesses to do commerce out there. Like if you want to have like a street event or so one of the businesses want to do some cafe from their restaurant or their business, they can do that too. But those would be things that we'd have to work through and have those kind of discussions. There's some of that already out back for the junction now.
Yeah, and I can see it for some. I wouldn't say it's appealing just yet to me, but we'll work through it.
Yeah. I hear a lot of good comments of, kind of that being able to be outside and enjoy that dining and beverage experience. That would be very, very attractive for people to come to, because for
the junction and that for sure. Not so much for me.
No, for sure. But if we're attracting people to downtown, they may want to do other commerce while they're there.
Yep.
Yeah. Dave, Martin Shipson here, Dave, if I may.
Yep.
Brett's got a good point. I was looking at the plan, and with the concrete raising up on the west end, do you think it not be like what is the concrete plan? Like, should there not be a raised elevation from the corner right to the home
So-
hardware? Is that what you're looking
so
at?
I think-
Because when you
Yeah,
look at
so I
that,
think
when you look
we're
at
getting
that,
good-
and that'll give a buffer for actually adding planters off that 4-foot width, because we don't want to have a start and stop going to every shop. We want the whole full thing. The people on the east side, their elevations look pretty acceptable, especially with the new pharmacy. They're doing what they can for accessibility, and that is the big issue these days. So, do you think that would
I
be
think we're
more in
getting
the
a bit
plan
ahead of
to?
I think we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves in that let's not worry about what it's going to look like. Is it something that we want to go through the process, apply for the money, see if we get it? Then what we do is we go into a design phase and we'd have consult again and make sure that this kind of a rendering or is what we want. And that's a discussion with the businesses. That's not, to me, really a council decision. Council's decision is, you know, putting the money together to get this done. This project has to work for the downtown businesses and be a place
No,
that
and
we can approve, you know, and maybe it means widening the sidewalk on the east side as well.
I totally agree with you, Dave, but the whole point of getting the grant and doing that, we have to have some kind of idea. So, you know, that should be part of it, like make that more accessible on there. So that way, you know what you're putting your funding in for. So, you know, it is such a hard call, but
Yeah.
Well, I
the
think
west side is totally different than the east side. So,
I think what we do is we seek feedback from the downtown businesses, see what their interest is. And if there's interest in proceeding with this, then we'll apply. And when we apply and get the funding, we'll then start into an actual design and make it sure that everybody gets their fingers on this thing from the business owners and make sure it works for them. Do they want to access, step access up to this new level in front of their building or not? And let's see if we can make it work. Just because we get the funding doesn't mean that we can we go ahead. We can always reject and not do the project. But I think if there's you know, if there's a motivation to do this, you know, accessibility to your building will add value to your building and add opportunity for more commerce.
yeah. And just an aside, Dave, I like the term motivation, and that's what this whole public planning means about. So, yeah, thank you.
Okay. Any questions from business owners that are on the call?
It's Janice. I put a question into the chat. I'll just ask it out loud. I'm just wondering, I understand the idea that you bring people into the downtown if you have an event space, but that I'm kind of assuming that might be a very limited time of the year, very few dates throughout the year. So in general, is there any, I don't know, studies out there or any evidence to support that by changing this street from two-way traffic to one-way traffic, like could it not actually hurt downtown businesses by making it difficult to come in and out, and if it reduces traffic, then maybe the visibility of the business is really overall reduced?
Yeah, so I guess what I'd say to that is that part of our problem is that we're not on a main artery like Highway 10 or something, where other, you know, kind of the curse of Dundalk is that we're not on Highway 10, and the curse of being on Highway 10 would come with its challenges too. But I think we need to make sure we focus on our local businesses and create a place for people to shop locally. And I think one thing that COVID has done is driven people to shop more locally than they have in the past because of the the safety of shopping local in your community and not traveling into another community. But there's when you go to other places, like you go to downtown Orangeville, like the beauty of downtown Orangeville kind of attracts you to downtown. And that's the kind of thing that, well, in our feedback in the community action plan said that, and that would come from, I'm sure, some business owners, and would come from, you know, the community to say, you know, we need to do something different.
Yeah.
Because
I'll say something, Dave. I, being one of the businesses that doesn't fit in that mold, I mean, if you go to Orangeville, none of the businesses like mine will be in that downtown core. They're all on their own in their own properties.
right.
You know what I mean? Like, for me, my concern is if you take the parking away, I have 300 customers on a Saturday that have to walk farther to get to my door. So that's my concern, right? Where if we go this way, you've got a couple spots. If I'm carrying things for somebody, I'm going across town. If I'm helping them out because they are disabled and I got to get stuff to them, it's a long way for everything. So my concern is for my business is that it spreads everything out. If I had a restaurant, I think it'd be awesome. But for me, it just, that's my concern, is how far to parking I would be for all the things, because not everything walks out in a bag.
Right.
So that's my
And
concern.
that's why, yeah, that's why we would have parking, you know, kind of that stop and go parking of like the slide that's up right now. There would be some, you know, short-term parking for that type of
Someone has to
delivery.
monitor that. So unless you're going to be out there and say, oh, you've got to leave now, it's not going to work, right? We have enough trouble with that where people park in front of the store for the day and go to work, right? Or park and go up to their apartments. So
yeah,
I have trouble with the one way and limited parking. Yes, I'd like to be accessible, but I don't want to be accessible, but not accessible because now you've limited the amount of people that are actually going to come. That's my concern.
yep.
It's Rosemary here. Can I say something?
Yes.
I would be great to go along with what you're proposing for the one way, especially given the restaurant could have their seating area out front instead of out back where the garbage bins and everything are. I wouldn't want to have like, customers walking through that area to come in to the back of the store. So unless there's a way of making the aesthetics better back there, I don't think I'd want to have customers going through there.
Yep.
And it's too bad the restaurant has to have its patio at the back where all that action is taking place with garbage bins and everything and the smell and all that.
And maybe this project, a project like this could help them transition to something more upfront, but
yeah,
that's all in the design. I mean, what I'm talking about, raising up the area in front of the stores, we could actually make it, oh, maybe 12 or 15 feet or maybe more. I think to just dismiss it without taking a look and seeing what we can do further might be a mistake, but that's up to the businesses. I mean, there's a lot of studies out that says making the importance of accessibility to future business, because that, you know, there's and we are an older population, and people that are older are, you know, on scooters, or it's hard on their knees getting up and down even 2 or 3 steps. But those are decisions we have to make, and for sure there's going to be some challenges that aren't going to be to some's liking, but I think there's ways to work around, you know, more parking at the rear of the stores, more parking on Holland Street, and definitive parking rather than just haphazard parking. That you know, anyway, In actual
And
fact,
the other thing is, what's going to happen with that eyesore on the corner?
down at Main and Proton.
Yes. Because that's the first thing you see when you're driving down Main Street towards Proton is 3 buildings that are vacant. And then by the time you see a building that has a store, you're already gone past.
Yep. So I can't say a whole lot about that because we are, my chief fire official and the building department are working fairly aggressively to get some action there.
Mm-hmm.
That's about all I can say.
All right.
We even have someone that would buy the building, but that's not being entertained.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I understand there's a lot of work, a lot of money has to go into it. Yeah.
But I hear your plea, and we have been frustrated a lot with trying to solve that problem.
Mm-hmm.
To be clear, are you talking about the building that houses the pizza restaurant on the bottom?
No, on the north side.
Northwest
the red
side.
building. The red
Oh,
building.
on the northwest side.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry, it's hard to differentiate which eyesore in the main corner we're talking about.
Yes. Well, I mean, that's the whole thing of this project is let's stop the eyesore stuff and let's improve some of these things with some new ideas and creating, accessibility, creating having a place that the farmers market could come downtown and bring commerce in on a Wednesday night or a Friday night or whatever. But if these are just concepts and ideas to consider.
I think, I think the theory is good. I think, obviously accessibility is a real issue. We're trying to address that right now on the front of our building. It is something that has to be addressed. I understand, the idea of improving the appearance of the downtown core. But the reality too that we can't forget is that most of the buildings are pretty much empty down there, and I think you can't minimize the kinds of concerns that Brett's bringing forward as one of the only thriving businesses in the downtown. For me, as being another business downtown, like I would certainly hate to see that hardware store move somewhere else, and then we have 2 more empty spaces downtown.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
What do we do with the project if COVID keeps hanging on? And what's the time frame right now they expect? If we get the funding and everything.
So, like I said, we would we'd apply, and then we would have to have the project done by June 30th of 2022. I don't really think there would be a lot of impact from COVID other than us gathering to talk about this, but we could easily distribute information and still have these kind of conversations online. But if COVID continued to the end of the year that we couldn't really gather and do projects like this, I would suggest that the ministry would extend the funding window of the construction completion date, because they've done that with this RED program with us as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
And would the social distancing be taken into effect when they do start building it, just in case?
Yeah, they would have to. They would have to. But we'd likely be looking at a construction window of March of next year till you know, March till May or something like that is when, if construction were to take place.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Maybe we'll go on to the CIP, and that's just a few slides back, Kayla. Okay, next slide. Yeah, there we go. Next slide. And that's where you can find the community improvement plan. The previous one was for the community action plan. Next slide. So there are, I believe it's 15 different features here, and I'm not going to go into these in a lot of detail because we only have 30 minutes left unless we want to continue on. The tax increment equivalent grant is for improvement in downtown areas where there's significant changes to the property. Maybe a building is torn down and rebuilt, and the new taxation is significantly increased. That tax can be transitioned. The new tax over and above what the previous tax was can be transitioned over a 10-year transition period. So let's say the tax is increased by $5,000. Taxes would just increase $500 a year for the 10-year period. So that would transition the impact of that. The next one is building and land improvements, and that's just basically for major repairs to encourage rehabilitation and repairs and improvements to existing buildings and lands. And what that would be is $50,000 maximum, or 50% of the eligible costs. And there's a process to go through to be approved for a grant like that. And also the township would have to allocate funding to support that type of a project. At this point in time, there's only money in a few places. The next one, there is money already in place, and that's for facade and building improvements. So basically, that you're going to put a new face on the front of your building to be more attractive, or be more to try and draw people into your building. So we would support that with up to $5,000 or 50% of the facade improvements. Next slide. Signage improvements. So again, if there was a sign as part of that facade, you could get up to $2,500. Property landscaping and parking area. And let's be clear, this is for other properties that may have parking as part of their building. So you could have if you wanted to improve the look with landscaping and parking area improvements to create a cafe or patio or private business on a private business property, you can get up to 3,500 or 50%. If you want to do accessibility improvements or public health and safety improvements that would be related to ramps or where there's distancing and things like that you want to improve your property, you can do that through this program, and that's $3,500 maximum, or 50% of the eligible costs. Next slide. Destination infrastructure grant, and this is for community organizations that want to upgrade and invest in destination infrastructure, more signage and so on. I think there might be a typo here on this 5,000 or 2,500, but anyway, you can see kind of the scope of the project, what the project could be funded for. Planning fees. So if you come along and you need to rezone your property or redevelop it, we would refund planning fees up to $2,500 or 50% of the planning fees to support your development. Same with building fees, maximum 2,500 or 50%, and development charges to assist with property owners that want to finance and the cost of their development. We would support them with 100% rebate on development charges to a maximum of $10,000. Next slide. Housing rehabilitation and conversion. So this is where you would rehabilitate a multi-residential property with upper for commercial residential space that would have mixed use building space and affordable residential property development. So this would be for like downtown where you want to take upstairs of your building on the second and third floors possibly and convert them or improve the commercial or the residential space upstairs above your commercial spot. And that's up to $50,000. Startup space leasehold. So if you wanted to improve your shelving or something in your store, that could be also funded through this project up to $5,000 as part of the CIP. Environmental studies. So if you have a property that is been contaminated, we would support up to $5,000 to do a study to fix up that property. And next slide. Brownfield property tax assistance. So this is, so what happens here is it's related to if the cleanup of the property needs tax support, we can apply, cancel the municipal portion of the property taxes during the site remediation, and we can apply to the Minister of Finance for property tax owner cancellation for education. So this again an incentive to support somebody taking a property that is got contamination, shutting off the taxes and getting it cleaned up. The last one is surplus lands and buildings, and this is more specific projects related to the township and township lands and buildings that are deemed to be surplus, that we get them out into public hands if we no longer need them, and offer them through a request for proposal process to improve, maybe a business location or whatever, and get it, into the drawing taxes rather than just sitting there with no use. Next slide. So this is just a snapshot of kind of making sure that these 15 options or 15, let's call them programs, can be accessed. But if you want to take the tax increment equivalent grant, that's an option 1, and that's the only grant you can get. You can't jump into some of the other grants because it's a fairly healthy grant. If you take option 2, you can get the building and land improvement grant. And if you just go to the next slide, we'll maybe toggle back and forth a bit here, Kayla. You can also get planning fees, building permits, and development charges back in relation to the option 2 with the program number 2. And for option 3, you can also get housing rehabilitation with planning fees and building and development charges being subsidized as well. Just go back to the previous slide, Kayla, please. And so that's the only thing. So the housing and then those other grants. Now in option 4, those are the lower priced options, and you can bundle these. So program 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, next slide, 8, 9, 10 can all be accessed along with 12, 13, and 14. So you could bundle a combination of those about 10 grants to work for you. So if you were doing an environmental study and it was on a brownfield property, and you were going to plan and do some building on it and development charges, you could access all that stuff at the same time, and maybe even if there's some other programs you could fund in there. Just go back to the previous slide, Kayla. And so you could look at signage and maybe landscaping as options there too to get funded. A new building maybe wouldn't get facade improvement, but if it wasn't a brownfield, you might be rehabilitating an older building and you could get the facade improvement and some destination signing and accessibility improvements along with landscaping and signage, so with the planning stuff. So that's the 4 options that just make it kind of easier for people to look at this rather than read about a 100-page document. This is kind of what I would call the application checklist or a cheat sheet to see what you can and can't get bundled together. Next slide. So the consultation feedback we're looking for tonight is about revitalizing downtown Dundalk and feedback on the downtown parking and community improvement plan feedback if there's interest in discussing it further. But I think if there's any questions about the survey that you want to share with us now, or you can call myself or Terry and have a discussion offline, or we can talk about it now. We'll just open it up for questions at this point. Maybe go to the next slide as well, Kayla. And that's it. So maybe why don't we go through the survey? Do you want to just pull that document up, Kayla? We've got a few minutes left here that we can maybe go through it and just show where we're seeking feedback. So the first one is business accessibility. Do you support the township creating changes to Proton Street sidewalks between Main and Holland to address great accessibility? And then we talk about, you know, do you, yes, you agree, or you disagree, no, or I'm undecided. Then we talk about new sidewalks and how the elevations would change. In downtown Dundalk and the outdoor space, we talk about it in the third bullet. Just pull up, thank you. And downtown Dundalk and the local weekly farmers market, would that be of interest in them coming and joining in with downtown Dundalk to, again, create a place to attract people? Because
I have a question about the farmers market, like, or just the event space. So if you're not actually closing the main street, but going with, you know, maybe the one-way option, where do you see the event space in that scenario being for something like a farmer's market?
Well, maybe go back up to the other slide, the one-way street slide. And it may well be, if it's maybe the Fireman's Frolic, and they've done that in years past, is you just close even the one-way street for that night. Again, those are discussions for me, the downtown businesses, to have a debate, a discussion, a dialogue at a business association or chamber meeting to make those decisions and receive those proposals from the farmers market or the firemen or whatever. But where it says pedestrian area, raised concrete, that's a larger area where there's no parking and it extends over a little bit further. Where there's only the one-way street, that would be more of an open space, larger area. So you're really, you know, taking away 3 lanes of traffic with just 1 lane. So you've got, right now you've got parking, lane north, a lane south, and another set of parking. You would be removing about adding 36 feet to the present sidewalk to create that outdoor space. And again, if it was more robust, you might just close off the one-way completely for an event. But again, those are decisions that the Downtown Business Association or should have those discussions and make decisions on what's in the best interest of attracting more people to downtown for all businesses, whether it's a Friday night, a Wednesday night. But anyway, there's more people coming to town, and I think we need to create a place for them to come and be part of their community, or consider that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we know they're coming, so we got to get ready.
Yeah.
Dave, if I could, Councillor Rice here.
Yep.
Yes, I've really been thinking here about this, and it's a public meeting. And with Brett's comment there, like, you know, he's a very successful business. It's been here years, and we talk about this open space on the street, and, you know, flower pots and benches. And, you know, it's feel good. It's feel good. I know what you're trying to do. I want to see the downtown thriving too, but in my eyes, and I'm just putting it out there, it's a public meeting. I think I agree with Brett. You're going to kill the businesses down there. And maybe this is out of order to be saying. I'm not sure, but I'm giving my opinion. I just feel we're going to kill the businesses down there if we shut this street down. We can't attract people down there now. And as the other woman said there earlier, you know, the buildings are run down. If we got to get the buildings and people in the businesses before we think about shutting the street down, I think. And I just don't know how you're going to attract people down there. And I know there's a lot of new residents coming, but there's residents and businesses that have been here a long time that we got to really make sure that we don't push them out is all I'm worried about. And I just wanted to make that comment.
Yep, no, I think the other thing we need to consider at the same time is that there are a lot of businesses that are, you know, having a hard time, and the way to improve things, and the community action plan says it pretty clearly. We need to invest in our downtown and turn it into a place that they want to come to. I'm not sure where this feedback come from, but it was fairly strong in multiple, you know, like the whole action itself. It says the residents and businesses of Southgate envision of our largest town wants becoming a source of community pride and a hotbed of community activity with a much improved appearance and a broader range of business opportunity.
Dave, Martin here. I moved up here in 1988, and I was so impressed with the downtown. They had, when I moved up, there was actually 3 grocery stores. A Dundalk bakery on the corner where I could get sausage rolls. You know, times change, but sometimes times you have to force the issue. And I think this plan here that everybody can talk about is a good thing. I think we're missing the point of, you know, we have the credit union, we have the bank, we have the pharmacy, we have the hardware store. They're basically the 4 flagship stores or commodities that we have to promote along with the other stores that are going to be coming in, because I drive the community every day, and I'm looking on the weekends. If we can tap into at least 10% of the traffic that comes up here Friday, that is going to be a big boon to downtown Dundalk, you know. So whatever we can do, the business people have to get in there. But I would like to think of the credit union, the bank, and the home hardware. Yeah, there's going to be issues with parking, maybe, but part of the thing may be to develop the back end of the stores on the west side of town too. The point is, you can take the positive and say, these are the flagship stores in Dundalk. Let's build around them also. So there's all kinds of stuff we can look at. You know, the town has to grow in some way, because it will be more of a ghost town if we don't. And that's just a personal opinion. So we'll go from there.
And now we're going to put another store, one of the main stores on Proton Street North, which is the pharmacy, that's going to need parking as well there.
Yeah.
So we're jamming them all in one street.
Well, we're going to have 40 spots. There's about 40 spots that would, once the rear parking lot behind the pharmacy and the credit union, the CIBC is developed, there'll be about 40 parking spots back there. And we're not getting 40 parking spots out of there right now.
No, but those are still used, Dave. Those are used already as well, right? They maybe don't have 40, but sorry, there maybe aren't 40 spots used, but there's probably 25 to 30 cars in there every day. back in that lot. It's not empty, so it's not adding. It's
No,
going to be.
I get that. I get that.
I fully agree with that. But you're going to add maybe 10 is what I would say, because there's lots of cars back in there every day. It's not like they're empty.
I think one thing that we need to, the biggest complaint I hear is that we allow employees of businesses to park, you know, close to the business. I think we need to find ways to maybe have them park further away from the businesses to allow people to come in as well. Because that's a big discussion I've heard, that even the business owner parks in front of their store. Not that it's I'm pointing at anybody on the call, but I've had that complaint.
But it has to be within reason too.
No,
you're not
sure.
going to park in Hopeville and walk to the township building to make spots for people to come in.
We're not saying that, but let's not park on Main Street or Provo.
Oh, I know, but we can't. There's only so far we can go, right? There aren't any other lots.
Yeah. Well, we're going to create one likely in the medical center in a year or so.
Yeah, and that'll be good.
And develop the rail trail for more parking. And I mean, it's just something that you need to consider for downtown.
Yep.
There's an old saying that if you do what you did, you'll get what you got. And right now, there's a lot of businesses not doing that great.
But it's coming. And that's the thing, is not to get ahead. Like, the new people are coming. They're coming into the store. We get them all the time, and it makes a big difference. But they are coming. So not like you can force them, but they will make their way. And, you know, I'd love to have it accessible. Don't get me wrong. I just have trouble giving up what we have to do it. So, but I'm open for conversation, but like I said, it's hard to give away more than you might gain for me.
I think maybe now's a good time for me to step in a little bit too with this, is that I think the key here is that's what we're interested in, is what will work. And I think by starting this and looking at it, I think everyone can agree improvement in that area is what we need. It's a matter of how we do it, how we accomplish it. So anyone that has ideas on you know, how we can change or tweak this, or how we can accomplish what we need, that's what the input's for. Like, nothing's carved in stone. We're just the big thing is we're looking at that funding that would help us quite a bit in doing this. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't want to make anybody's business worse. I want to do something to make it better, but I think we need to do something to improve. And so it's a matter of what can we do to improve that will attract other businesses and people down there, as well as help the existing ones. And that to me is what it is. So, you know, problems with the initial plan here, we can point out, but more important to me right now, in the short future, is ideas of how we can move things around, or what would work better, or how this would work better, or just that type of input is so important, because you're the ones there.
I got a question, Dave. How much room would it take for the slope? Because if we could do one way with two sides of parking, that could, I'm worried about getting it too far away, right? Like if you had if you could give up one lane of traffic instead of giving up all the, like the one there, we only have one lane, right? I mean, you lose your concrete area, but with that, how much room do you think it takes to get accessibility with the sidewalk system?
So you're proposing double parking on both sides,
right?
With one lane of traffic. I think it would be, you wouldn't have any kind of community space.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have any community space.
No,
I think.
I mean, I know that's, you're trying to get that too, but we're still limited on space no matter what we do.
For sure, but I think if parking is your concern, then I think we need to take a deep dive into looking at some of the rear lot parking and working with the rail trail to increased parking on both the east and west side of the rail trail, behind the businesses and across the trail from the businesses.
And if we,
That's a
if we
place
had
for
some
employees
walkways
to
through
park.
the building too, it would help, but we have buildings that are solid, right?
No, I get that. But what
Yeah.
I'm saying is that making sure our employees park back at the back and giving those parking spaces that are on Main Street or on Prote Street and behind the credit union, the new the CIBC and the new drugstore, making sure those parking spots are available to business or to customers that are coming to buy. And
Yeah.
I would say by this time next year, that's likely a wee bit, by the fall of 2022, we would be looking at using the parking lot at the medical center for parking for downtown as well.
Yeah.
But I think if parking is your concern, let's not throw this out because of parking. Let's find more solutions to parking
It's
sooner.
just convenient parking, right?
For sure, convenient parking.
Convenient parking.
I mean, the one thing that you've got a big benefit there is you're close to Holland Street. So we can, design some good parking, and maybe we can get parking on the library side, vertically, and we can get inline parking on Holland Street and I'm going to say it forever, likely, that's just me, but that they can drive in and park against Lloyd Young store. But it's no longer Lloyd Young store, but you know what I'm talking about. And in that area and make it delineate that there's that fine spaces to make sure it's and maybe, I don't know, do you know how much of that parking space you own?
I couldn't tell you, to be honest. I don't own that building. I own the other one. I was kind of looking at the lot line, seeing how far back we own.
But you're leasing that building, and maybe that's something we could look at is 3 or 4 spots there for home hardware parking only or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because if you want drop off and pick up locations that are close, then that's an option too.
Yep.
Maybe you own that parking space. I don't know, because we've never surveyed it.
Yeah, I don't know either.
So, I mean, those are things we can take a deeper dive into and try and figure out. But I just would hate to see possibly a positive for downtown being thrown out because of parking challenges. I think we can create parking.
I think too, like if you're looking at, your one-way traffic option as the most viable option for creating the effect that you're trying to create downtown, it should maybe come in conjunction with still developing that rear west side of those businesses. Like it is true, various businesses that are already there have different needs. And, the example, like comparing the junction to the hardware store, like you said, for the junction, it would be great to be out front on as opposed to in the back, certainly the way the back is now. And if you're making it difficult, if it becomes difficult for loading and unloading and picking up at the hardware store at the front, then if that problem is created out of this, then that problem needs to be addressed by, whether it's looking at the back, developing the back as well. I don't think it should be one or the other. I think both of those things need to be looked at.
Yep. And for one, like, that's a great idea as far as, maybe there's a pickup location at the back of some stores for that very purpose to, they go in and buy something large and they want to pick it up, then there's a place they can just drive in, pick it up. It's just a stop.
Yeah, which we do, guys. It's just then, do you maintain back there instead of it being a gravel road? Does it become paved and does it become nice, or does it become just as is, right?
That's a discussion. Do we, like from Holland Street to Gray, it will be a paved rail trail. We understand it's
How does that work with the trail bed back there though, Dave? Because I mean, that's the issue for like the junction, right? Whenever it's a really nice day and then 25 four-wheelers go bombing up the trail there and you're covered in dirt because it's still gravel, right?
And if we really want to do this right downtown and maintain that, you know, rear lot dining there,
Yeah.
maybe we need to look at, is there a place for garbage containers, or is there a place, maybe we pave the rail trail so that cost is not an issue. And we delineate parking spots where they can parking spots, but take advantage of really developing that. The county is very supportive. They were super supportive of the medical center project, but from Holland Street North, there will be a paved trail for the four-wheelers to go on, and we could do that right down to Main Street as part of this project.
That would help with that, keeping that kind of, I guess, down, especially for that type of thing, but.
Yeah, here's what I would suggest is you know, let the project be a bit of a canvas. Give us your feedback on, you know, what you don't like, what you do like. And I mean, if parking is the issue, I think we can find ways to improve parking, do a lot of things. Hello, yes?
Just come closer to your speaker. We're having trouble hearing you. There you go.
Sorry. Yep. And if I go dead here, it's because my battery is dying and Dave didn't bring his charger. I think let your mind think about this and complete the survey. If there's challenges that you see, like parking is going to affect your business, then let's sit down and figure out ways to improve the parking or increase parking behind or whatever, but find places for employees to park. Those are issues that I think if we work through this, we can find ways to solve them. But get us your feedback sooner rather than later, and we can have a meeting early part of June again and discuss the feedback we got and see where we go.
That's fair.
Any other questions or comments? So I think the last item that we were going to talk about was the next steps for the downtown project, and we've really talked about that in the feedback survey that we're looking for. If there's any questions, give us a call, Terry or myself or the mayor. I'm sure he'd be happy to talk about this as well. We can discuss this. We'll bring a report to council based on your feedback on June the 7th or 2nd, and we'll likely meet either before that or likely after that meeting to talk with you one-on-one or talk about it in a meeting like this and see what we can do to alleviate your concerns or make the project better, because we're not saying we have all the solutions with our concept. That's why we're reaching out to you to get some feedback, find the concerns, and make this better. And even when we do apply for money, you know, we may not get it. If we do get the money, then we would go into some full consultation of designs and renderings and tweaking and improvements to, you know, to make it work. And you know, if we want a street with parking all the way up on one side or both sides, and you're willing to, let's say, shut the street down completely for some community events, maybe those things are things we need to talk about and see what we can work through. But anyway, good discussion tonight. Yes?
I just have a quick question. I don't know if you can hear me or not.
Yes, we can.
So let's say if you went ahead with this and you were purchasing benches and all of these kinds of things, can they be purchased from local companies, or does the grant specify where things like that have to come from?
No, we would look at purchasing as much local as we can. There's not much in the way of rugged benches that are purchased locally, but you know, for signage and stuff like that, we do have local suppliers we work with.
Excellent. Okay, that's it.
Any other comments?
Martin here, Dave, John, Terry. I've listened in, I've made a couple of comments, and I'm wearing my just ratepayer hat, not council. I love this kind of public meeting when we have so many people coming into play and talking, because this whole idea is totally changing the look of Dundalk, and the change has to come. And I'll say again, you know, we have 4 flagship businesses. We build around them, and we have to talk about that. But again, we have so many people we could tap into coming up, driving by this town. And Dave, you said that. That's our problem. We don't have a main thoroughfare for people to stop off. So this kind of discussion is really good. And it was unfortunate 20 years ago or 25 years ago we didn't have this, because we wouldn't be in the state we're in now. So it's looking forward to the future, and it's a good thing. So
Well, I think just to jump off those comments is, you know, back in the 80s, everybody got intrigued with malls and box stores and so on.
Yeah.
And now with, I think there's an opportunity here to create a kind of a unique, trendy downtown that still has core businesses, but still has the cafes, the restaurants, the attractions that will bring people in and do
we're
those.
looking,
Like years ago, it used to be Friday night was shopping night, and then that kind of stopped. But you know, find ways to create events that is going to increase commerce downtown and make everybody a little bit better and stronger and more profitable.
yeah.
And
So
that way, then people can invest in their building and, you know, put up a new facade, and everybody is doing well, not just you know, a few.
and parking is an issue, because if you don't have parking, you don't get the people. So
Yeah.
good conversations, everybody. I'm glad I tuned in tonight. That's all I'm saying.
Any closing comments, Mayor Woodbury?
I'd just like to thank everybody for participating, and I hope you continue to participate in this. I think we're all in agreement that if we can do something in the downtown core for improvements, it's going to help, and that's exactly what we want. It's something that'll help. So please let us know your thoughts and ideas, and we can go from there. Thanks.
And let us all try to become flagship stores.
Yes, I agree.
We have lots of them, yes.
I'd love to do take 10 projects for facade improvements to council next year. That would be awesome. But you know, let's just do it one at a time. And when people can do it, but you know, the more creative things we can do downtown, and that's why we've hired a EDO. No pressure, Terry, but to get downtown as a, you know, a place that everybody can be successful and people are going to want to shop. And you know, we're really in some ways very fortunate, because the Mennonites, you know, are kind of, they don't travel that far, so they have to shop downtown. But I think we can bring more things for all our community. The newcomers are looking to be local buyers. They want to, you know, support local, because they're tired of already driving up and down the highway to go to work in many cases. So, you know, I'm excited about Emma's new cafe. Can't wait to, I don't need it, but I can't wait to get one of her Danishes. And we'll see, you know, how we can, you know, make downtown work better. And I would really like some feedback as well on the mural thing. I know with the building that we're talking about earlier that we need to get fixed up, that's a challenge. But do you as a business see value in those murals? We need that feedback too. if there's no other questions, then I think we'll adjourn the meeting, and we're about maybe 11 minutes over, and my battery's still going. But I really appreciate your feedback and your discussion, frank discussion. There's nothing wrong with that. That's what makes us better. And when you put your survey results in, don't be afraid to, shoot some holes in this thing. That way we can talk and address these things or find a way to work around them. But anyway, thanks for attending this evening. I'll leave it at that.
Thanks, everyone.
Take care. And I imagine Terry will be around to get your surveys if you haven't got them in. Take care.
I know.